Hey, so I've got an immediate reaction here to the movie Smile, which I just got out of a new horror film. Actually, I think it came out last week. Been getting some pretty good buzz and reviews, and I'm going to start by saying I enjoyed this movie. I think this is a very good movie. I think that there's a lot of positives in this movie. Now I'm going to go through a couple of my criticisms of it before I get to what I liked about it. First off, this is about a doctor who she works in a very busy hospital. She works in a mental health unit, and she is, a caretaker. She's someone who uh, is dealing with overcoming trauma from her childhood. And so she has taken on this role as a doctor, a psychiatrist. She calls herself a therapist, which is sort of a strange thing. And then, just a little bit complaint. So working in the hospital, they call it the ER, which most hospitals have gone to calling it the ED. I know it is a stupid thing to complain about, but it felt a little strange that they called it the ER. But anyway, so for anyone who has been around people that are dealing with manic episodes, mental health issues, so the doctor, her name is Rose. One of her first moves with her patients is always to get really close to them, which is not the first move. She goes also very quickly into just continuing to talk and tell them that what they're experiencing isn't real and all that sort of. And of course, there's a place for that. And this is a movie where we don't have a lot of time to, you don't have that normal wait time that you would have dealing with someone who is going through a manic episode, who may be experiencing trauma in that moment. Overall, I think that the movie did a good job of interacting with that and exploring that and showing that. I just felt like some of that was a little rushed. And again, this is a really stupid complaint, but so it's set in Newark, and it's a major hospital. If you've been around any hospitals, especially this type of a unit, man, the amount of space and how clean and it just, these units tend to be packed full and a little more chaotic than they were showing. Everything was very neat and orderly. Another small complaint. At one point, they have to restrain a patient, and these four nameless orderlies come and grab the patient and just hold him down. And again, it's strange because for them to just be waiting around like that and then go into a very untherapeutic hold, it just doesn't quite work, especially as there's, the key incident that kind of drives this movie is Rose, the doctor, experiencing this trauma and of a patient killing herself in front of him. And this is, I'm sorry, that is a spoiler, but you should get it, right? So where was that in this movie, right? In that scene, where were those orderlies? Because the patient that she's dealing with is clearly, she came in strapped down. And there's some really cool scenes where they kind of back out. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at my time, and I want to try to keep these 5 minutes. I'm really, but anyways, so there's this, clearly they know that she is a danger. So where are the orderlies with that? As far as other negatives, I would say that the sound, even though initially I was like, wow, the sound, even this movie, the sound is awesome, and I love this movie. This movie relies so much on jump scares everywhere, whether it's car horns blaring when you quote unquote don't expect it, or phones ringing, or just loud blaring noises to get you to jump. That was a little unfortunate, because this is a movie that really builds some good tension. The other thing, the last real criticism, I guess, I may have a little bit more, that I'm going to go into, is the fact that this movie is not that far removed from It Follows, which is an amazing horror movie and really, I think, more effective in almost every way. So how is this movie that is pretty much the same thing, like it could even be seen as a sequel, how is this movie following that so quickly. I mean, God, maybe quickly. I mean, what is it? Has it been 10 years since it follows? Um, but if you've seen that, you've seen this. Um, there isn't a whole lot if you are a purveyor of horror films. There's nothing in this movie I think that's really going to shock or surprise. There are some really cool things that happen though. Going into what I like about it, the cinematography is great. The first half of the film, we see these wide sweeping shots where people are driving in and out, and you see that there's sort of a chaos there, and they do these really clever, cool camera switches where things go from you're watching it top down to everything now is all of a sudden upside down. And of course the metaphor, the symbolism that things are starting to go crazy, and God, I should not have used that word, right, where things are starting to fall apart for Rose, for the main character. And what I like about this is, there's a film earlier in the year called Men. Similar, you got this professional woman who is dealing with trauma and the horrors that she's experiencing while she's trying to deal with that and get herself right. And I thought Men failed in almost every way. It used jump scares completely wrong. It was like someone who doesn't know how to make horror films wanted to make a horror film. And so in this, it kind of does a lot of that similar thing where, you're seeing the one angle of the character, and that the monster, the bad guy, the entity is right behind them, and oh my gosh, they're going to turn around. And yeah, that happens, right? That 100% happens. But coupled with the sound, like here's where I'm saying, the sound gets a little bit loud at times, but it's very effective to continue to build that tension and build that scare. I think a movie like The Ring was amazing because it kept the sound generally very low, menacing, intense. This movie ramps it up a little bit too much, but overall it's really good. I like how they're dealing with the trauma. The timeline gets a little bit confusing from the inception of being cursed to the 4 days later, but I guess that's kind of, the character has lost track. Rose has lost track of what is going on in her life. She's got this fiance, A-Train, and I don't know his name, the actor, but A-Train from The Boys, who is kind of in the film, but then kind of just disappears. I don't know. The whole thing seems strange. She's got a sister that's there. And then, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on the Rob. I want to say his name is Rob Moore, but I know it's not Rob Moore. Character actor, guy who's been in everything. He's in Daredevil. Anyways, he shows up. Overall, the cast in this movie is fantastic. I felt like they did a really good job. I'm going long, I apologize. But there is a lot that I really like about this movie. As it builds that tension, as it builds this, her world falling apart, and it goes from how is this character being terrified to how is this character going to overcome the challenge? How is this character going to win and beat the entity and overcome her trauma and all of that? And it's really well done. Oh God, at 99% stuck that landing. There's a moment, as you know how it's going to end, and she, it's going all very predictably, but it was satisfying. It was good. It was well done. The Babadook, right? When the creature shows up at the end, it was maybe a little silly, but it was still cool. There were a couple moments that I did laugh out loud. There's a part with a cat, where it was supposed to, okay, that was a little funny. And then the actual creature's voice. And by the way, I'm sorry, but the Winchesters would have kicked this thing's ass in a matter of 24 hours and wrapped it up and moved on to the next town. So I guess I like seeing the actual, tension and, the character trying to overcome. And oh my gosh, and it almost stuck the landing. I'm not going to go into everything. But I felt like it could have ended, and it could have ended very well. And then, it kind of went back to that, oh, yeah, of course, that's what happened. With all of that being said, and I know I went twice as long as I try to keep these to 5 minutes, so I'm just going to stop. But it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. I think that there's a lot to enjoy, and I hope if you've seen it that you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you thought of it. Just love to discuss movies. So like, share, subscribe, whatever, all the YouTube stuff. And thanks for watching.